Hello and welcome to episode 9 of my Mindset Tips. Just a reminder, this is not a sports psychology course. It's a collection of individual tips, meaning you can watch any of the previous episodes in any particular order. But of course, I recommend you do that because I think that there's some really useful things in there. On the screen at the moment are the tips that I'll be discussing in this episode, along with the times that they are shown. Down the bottom is the new Google YouTube's section dividers, so you can jump to any of those tips. And also in the text description are quick jump links that you can click on and immediately be taken to the tips that you find interesting. Just quick mention the two Grays rackets here. We've got the Illusion 110 and the Innovation Classic. Both of them I've reviewed. Go check them out if you're interested in those reviews. So let's get started. Tip number 33. Remember, it's possible to do everything right but still lose. As long as you tried your best, that's what really matters. Now, these videos are for club players, for recreational players. They're not for professionals. There maybe is a difference when you're a professional and, earning money is what you're doing. But if you're playing for fun, you can still play great squash. You can still make the right decisions, but somebody might be better than you. You might be a little bit unlucky. Don't think that it's always about winning. We have to enjoy our recreational sport. That's what it is, recreation. So as long as you get on court and you do your best, you've prepared well, you've done the training, you've done your practicing, you try your best, you're fair, you're honest. As a coach, I would never ask for more from my pupils. I am a coach that just wants you to have fun, learn and enjoy what you're doing. And that's, I think, a really important part of playing sport. So don't think that you lost. If you lost, you did something wrong. Maybe you didn't. Don't think that if you lost, you could have done something different and you could have won. Maybe you couldn't. Don't think you lost because you are not good enough. No, see it that the person was better than you. Just go out, do your best, enjoy what you're doing and try and learn from it. Tip number 34. Focus completely on the present moment. Don't worry about what's just happened or dream about what could happen. This is a skill. Being able to only think about what you need to think about at that moment is a skill that can be developed, improved, and will be useful in pretty much all areas of your life. At the moment, it's trendy to call it mindfulness, and it's been around for a lot longer than that particular word has been popular. If you can focus on what you're doing at the time, anything else is interfering with you. You don't need to be focusing on what happened in the last point. You need to have learnt from it. Maybe it's motivated you, but you shouldn't be thinking about it. You shouldn't be thinking that when you come to play the shot from the same position that the last time you did that, you hit the tin. No, because if you're thinking about the last time I did that, I hit the tin, you're not thinking about making that action properly. You're not thinking, is this the right shot to play? You should have done all of that before, yes, but at the time, you should only be thinking about that one shot. If you're thinking about, and I'm very guilty of this, if I win the next couple of points, that will give me a little bit of a break. I'll be in the lead there, and if I need to take a break or slow the game, no, don't overcomplicate things. Think about now. Think about what's happening now, and it is a revelation when you do start to do it. When you manage to take away all the extraneous thoughts that are not needed for that moment, you find a certain clarity, and people talk about being in the zone and out of body experiences, and maybe those things are valid, but at its simplest, at its core, it just allows you to perform better. And that's really this tip. This tip is just about performing better what you're doing at that one moment. But don't think that you just sort of turn it on and turn it off. you can do it for some times, and then you will fall back into your bad habits. But the more you do it, the better you get at it, the easier you can turn it on and off, and the longer, that's what this movement is, the longer you'll be able to do it for. So just, start doing it for shorter periods of time, and then you'll get better at it and you'll be able to do it for longer. Tip number 35, cultivate the mindset that you never just lose. Now, it's a little bit of a cliche that you either win or you learn, and it's not quite right, because you can learn a lot when you win. The reasons for winning might be you were a bit lucky, but you can still learn from it. But the point of this tip is to go in and say, losing is such a negative connotation that I'm going to say, I learnt from it. I learnt more than perhaps I would have done if I had won. Now, I don't want to sound too sort of wishy-washy and to say, you didn't lose, you just didn't win. I mean, you lose. Losing is not winning. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you benefit from it, you want to gain from it, and you want to learn from it. And you need to take that negative emotion that you might have when you first lose, and some people have this, they are horrible people to be around. And I know that some of my pupils in particular tournaments, the best thing for me to do is completely avoid them for the next couple of hours after they've lost. They do not want to talk to anybody, and in some cases maybe days, and that's fine. That energy needs to be used to motivate you, to learn from that experience. And if you come out and say, yeah, I lost, but I think I know how to become better, then that's a positive thing. You've taken the negative and you've turned it into positive. And I'm not saying that we should never have negative emotions, because I do think that negative emotions can be powerful motivators. If it's only ever positive, we need the ups and downs. That's part of life, and to try and avoid them is just not good for you. So accept that there will be negative feelings, but turn them into a learning experience, a motivating, inspiring experience. Tip number 36, do not complain about things that you have no control over. Focus on the things. Tip number 36, don't complain about things that you have no control over. What you do have control over is how you respond to those things. Now, in a particular match, you might not be able to control the temperature of the court. It might be quite hot, and you see sort of players, oh my God, there's just no air in here. It's just so hot. Or the floor's a little bit slippery. Or the referee is just blind. I mean, you can't control any of those things. But how you respond to them, you can control. Now, some people, and I'd like to use John McEnroe as an example. If you are quite young, John McEnroe was a tennis player from the 1980s. He was the sort of one of the main competitors to another tennis player called Bjorn Borg, and they had these wonderful Wimbledon finals and other places as well. Now, he became angry over bad line calls or things that happened, noise in the crowd. Now, he did that on purpose, because it was his way of making himself more motivated, of making himself more focused. But for most people, that doesn't work. It interrupts their concentration. It does for some, but the chances are you already know that, or you're not one of those people. So if you can say, I can only control what I do, you will feel more in control. I can't control the weather. If we have to play with a ball that is not the brand that I usually play with, I can't control that. You can try it. You can say, I'm sorry, I was told that this would be a double yellow dot tournament. And I'm looking up, sorry. Always look up, because I'll pretend that I'm talking to the balcony. It's such an ingrained habit in me. Maybe you can't change the ball that's being used, the brand or the type of dot. Maybe you can't play on the court that you want. You don't like this court because it's too noisy. If you can't control those things, you need to stop thinking about them and control the things that you can do, which is the response to them. And that can be a very useful mindset tip in all sorts of situations outside of sport. Control the things that you can control and ignore the things that you can't. Well, there we go, episode 9 of the Mindset Tips series. Hopefully you found them useful. If you have any comments, suggestions or criticisms, even if you want to tell me I'm wrong, just do it politely. Please put them in the comments and I will respond to each and every one. On the screen at the moment is a subscription button. If and only if you think my content is useful, please consider subscribing. There's also a playlist of all of the other Mindset Tips videos and a video that YouTube thinks is a really good fit for you based on what you've been watching. And remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.